Hi, this is Matt with Virginia Cash Real Estate. And I wanted to talk to you about 4 things that you definitely would want to consider when selling to somebody off market. First one's going to be proof of funds. Does the person that is claiming to buy your property or wanting to buy your property have some sort of proof of funds? Do they have cash, or do they have some sort of credit line or rehab loan? Another thing they might have is what's called private money. A friend or somebody they know has the cash in the bank. It's not their cash, it's their friend's cash, and their friend is willing to loan them the money to buy the property. Cash can easily be proven through either a bank statement, or they can have their banker write a letter and sign off on it stating that they have at least enough to buy the property. Proof of funds for some sort of private money, credit line, rehab loan would be a letter either from the person lending them the money or from the institution they're borrowing the money from. Either way, they would be able to get some sort of letter from whoever they're borrowing the funds from. Something we like to do as well is we can put you in touch with our lender if need be, and you can talk to them and you can ask them, how have Matt and Ben done? Do they do a lot of properties? Are they easy to work with? All this happens in such a short period of time typically. So we know you kind of need to gather information to, feel good and trust working with us. So that's something obviously we're willing to do. Next is going to be EMD, earnest money deposit. How much money is the buyer willing to put into escrow with the closing attorney in case they don't close? If they fail to close, right, they're in breach. How much money are they willing to put in? Most people you will see on contracts, $10, $50, $100. That's no skin in the game in my opinion as a buyer. And it's just very easy for someone to walk away from that property and not care about 10 bucks. With us, we're willing to do higher EMDs. Normally we do $1,000 earnest money deposit. We do that because if we fail to close on the property, which we've never done before, by the way, but let's say it happens, then at least you get that $1,000, and that month of time you thought it was going to close and it doesn't, now you at least got compensated properly for it. Whereas 10 or 50 or 100 bucks, in my opinion, doesn't properly compensate you for failure on our part. Next is going to be, is the contract assignable? And what do I mean by that? Can somebody take a contract after saying they're going to buy the property from you? Can they then take that contract and go over here to this guy and say, hey, do you want to buy this property? And then that guy says yes, and then they do what's called an assignment of contract. And you may say, well, why would they do that? Well, they don't do it for free. What they're doing is, if someone's assigning a contract, they're saying, you'll say, hey, I want 120 for this property. And they'll go, okay, I can give you 120 for this property. They put it under contract. You think you're good to go. Then they go over here to this guy who's actually a real buyer, and they say, hey, do you want to buy this property? And that guy says, yeah, I'll give you 140 for it. So they assign it for 140. And then they're trying to make the $20,000 difference. You won't know that's happening until you go to closing, and you'll see some sort of line item that says assignment fee or assignment of contract fee, something like that, and it'll notate the difference. The last thing is going to be contingencies. What kind of contingencies exist in the contract? For us, the only type of contingency that exists is the property has to be vacant within 72 hours prior to closing. Now, we have bought properties before with tenants in place, and we'll keep the tenants in place, especially if they're good tenants. In that case, that contingency obviously doesn't exist. But when we're buying properties with no people and tenants in place, tenants are supposed to be gone, we do reserve the right to verify that the tenants are gone. With most people, what you'll see is some sort of inspection contingency. And what that means is they can say, I don't like this property within that contingency period, and then they can release. Now, why do I say all this? Because these 4 things tell you what type of buyer you actually have. Do you actually have a real buyer, Or do you have somebody that's trying to do what's called wholesale your property and make a fee? Meanwhile, they actually don't have the means to buy your property. The reason I bring this up is there are a lot of people in the industry that would have no proof of funds. They have no resources to buy the property. They don't have cash in the bank. They don't have a friend or somebody they know with cash. You know, what I said was considered private money. And they don't have any kind of credit line, rehab loan, rental loans, anything like that. So they'll do a small EMD of, let's say, $50. And then they'll do a contingency period of, let's say, 7 days. And you put that property under contract, or you all agreed on 120 to you as the purchase price. Then they go over here to this guy and they try to assign it. When they can't get any amount above the 120 within the contingency period, they come back to you and they go, hey, sorry, we've got a release. And you're going, what? I thought you were going to buy my property. And they don't have to explain why or anything. And it's, the truth be told, it's because they couldn't find a buyer. They never had the means to buy your property, and they never wanted to buy your property. They were just seeing if they could fish it out there and get more than what you were willing to ask. At Virginia Cash Real Estate, we buy everything we put under contract. We've closed on everything we've put under contract. We have no issue working with you, explaining contracts to you. We want you to understand the contract. If you need to speak to our lender, so be it. We can put you in touch with him. It's not a problem. We don't have contingency periods that allow us to snake out of the contract or sneak out of the contract. The only way we would not close on a property that we put under contract is if you, the seller, decides not to show up and sell it. And that's the only time we would ever have a problem. Other than that, like I said, those are the 4 things I think you should focus on. Those are the 4 things that are going to tell you what type of buyer you have, and they're going to let you know, is this person, 1, serious, 2, can they actually buy this property, and 3, what are their intentions with this contract after we all sign. Again, thank you for visiting Virginia Cash Real Estate. We look forward to hearing from you. Give us a call with any questions you have. Thank you.